Hi, Keshav here. Welcome back. As part of Azure Data Factory video series, let's get started with next case study. Alright. In previous video, we spoke all about slowly changing dimension attributes, and also we saw how do we handle data loads into SCD type 0 and type 1 attributes. Right. So in this video, let's focus mainly on type 2 attributes, and we see how do we handle data loads into SCD type 2 attributes. Alright. This video gonna be little lengthy because I will be covering handling the data loads into all these three attributes together. Main focus is type 2, but still I wanted to cover all three together so that it will be more clear for you guys. Alright, in previous video I spoke about all these different types of attributes. So let me just recap. So type 0, as you know, that it's a fixed attribute. We don't expect any changes. In previous video we treated name as fixed attribute. Of course, it's a best example for fixed attribute because you don't expect name to be changed. For any specific agent, always name would be same, right? And type 1 is changing attribute. In previous video we treated contact number and location as type 1, and we saw how do we handle the data loads into type 1 attributes. Alright, type 2 is historical attribute. What are the attribute you wanted to maintain this history? So that attribute generally we will be treating as type 2 attribute, right? So in our example, we're gonna make designation as type 2. Alright, so in case if there are any changes in the designation for any specific agent, so I wanted to maintain the historical data as well as current record. Alright, in which designation he was in, until what date to what date he was in that designation, and what is his current designation. So that's what I wanted to maintain here. So in this data set, if you look at, so designation, I'm gonna make it as type 2 attribute. Alright, let's get started. So before getting started with our pipeline development, just I wanted to show you the high level steps those I'm gonna perform in this video. Alright, in case if agent ID coming from source so is not matching with the IDs in the target table, so I wanted to insert all those records into target table. In case agent is matching, that means agent already exists in the target table, and also its designation is not changed. So in that case, what I'm gonna do, I wanted to update the type 1 attributes. Third step, what I'm gonna do is, if agent ID is matching but designation is changed, so then what I want to do, I wanted to keep the previous designation and also current designation for that specific agent. Alright, I wanted to close old record by keeping new record open. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. I hope this is clear for you guys. Just let me repeat again. In case the agent ID does not match with the target table, just I wanted to go ahead and insert the records into target table. If agent ID is matching and designation also matching, so in that case what I wanted to do, just I wanted to update the values for only type 1 attributes by ignoring type 0 attributes. Alright, the third scenario is if agent ID is matching but designation is not matching. So in that case, what I wanted to do, I wanted to maintain the history. So that means the previous designation and also current designation. How I want to maintain, I wanted to close the previous record by keeping current record open. Alright, this is what I wanted to do. Alright, our source data is there in ADLS. Let me take you guys into ADLS. I already logged into Azure portal. So this is my Azure Data Lake storage account. So that is KR ADLS demo. Under KR ADLS demo, I got one container called development. Under development container, I got source file, that is agent details.xlsx. Alright, so there is Excel file which has got all agent details. So this is the file which I'm gonna use as a source. From this file, I'll be just comparing the data with the target table, and I wanted to handle data loads into all those three types of attributes. Alright, okay, fine. Now let me take you guys into ADF. Before going ahead, and let me take you guys into SSMS. Alright, if you observe my screen here, so this is the table I'm gonna create, that is dim agent table. I'm gonna create this table in TargetDB database, and this table I'm gonna create with foreign schema, that is SCD key, that would be integer, and I'm gonna create identity on that so that it will become auto incremented, so we no need to insert the value into that. Alright, the next column is agent ID, it's integer, and agent name varchar, and designation varchar, then contact number I'm gonna create it as begin, and location varchar is active. That will tell whether the current record is active or old record, right? So by default I am just passing the value that is 1. So by default every record that I'm going to insert, that will be active record. All right, so in case of changes, then we'll see how do we handle that. All right, then from date, from what date it is active, the start date, I'm gonna pass the default date through a get date function. All right, so on the to date I'm not passing default value, just by default it has to be loaded with null value. All right, so in case of changes, we'll see how to handle that. All right, so these are the fields, those I'm going to create in dim agent table. So let me just go ahead and create the table. All right, 0 records in the table, that's fine. So now let's go ahead and build our as per the requirement to handle these 3 requirements. All right, let me take you guys into ADF. I already launched ADF here. Let's go ahead and create new pipeline. I'm going to show you guys from scratch so that it will be more clear for you guys. I didn't have already built pipeline, so I'm going to show you from the scratch so that it will be more clear to follow and also to implement whenever you get to do that in your project. All right, let's get started from scratch. First, let me just go ahead and start this data flow debug. So that's very important at each step. If you want to see the data, how data is flowing in, this has to be started. The first activity that I'm going to use is a data flow activity. Create new data flow. Just click on data flow, say okay. All right, so let's go ahead and define the source. What is our source? Our source is Excel file that is there in ADLS. All right, let's go ahead and complete our source settings. I'm going to name it as ADLS. Fine. So let's go ahead and create a new data set. Do search for Gen2. Say okay. Continue. Our source file is Excel, so I'm going to select the file format Excel. Fine. And link service, let's go ahead and create new link service. I'm going to name it as ls ADLS, maybe already there. Let's say ADLS1, or maybe you can say ADLS Excel. Fine. Let's go ahead and select our subscription, then storage account, that is KR ADLS demo. That's it. Say create. Automatic link service will be created. In case if you are not aware what is link service, look at my introduction video, so that will give you more clarity. All right, so let's go ahead and browse the file. Our file is there in development container. The file name is agentdetails.xlsx. So let's browse it, and the sheet name, that is sheet 1. All right, we got data in sheet 1, and don't forget to check this option. First row has got headers. Say okay. All right, we are done with our source settings. Next thing, I wanted to get max key. Okay, I'll let you know what is the purpose of max key. So max key would be the maximum of the SCD key. The max SCD key value I wanted to pull here. Okay, let me go for that. Fine, so I'll let you know what is the purpose of that. So for now, let's go ahead and get max key from our target table. I'm going to name it as ds target db. Fine, let's go ahead and create new link service. I'm going to name it as ls target db. Fine, and subscription, then server name, that is KR SQL DB, and database name is target DB. Let me pass admin account and password. Fine, let's say create. All right, so link service is created. Now let's go ahead and select the table. Our table is dim agent table that we just created. All right, say okay, but we need only the maximum SCD key from the table. All right, so for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to source options, input. I'm going to convert the SQL query, then I'm going to write a query here. So how do we get the max of our SCD key? So just I'm going to say max of SCD key as max key, whatever the name it is, from dim agent. That's it. Now let's say import projections. So let's see whether our query is resolving and getting our max SCD key or not. Fine. So for this you need to have data flow debug started. Okay, it's already started now. Now you can do preview at any step. If that is not started, so definitely it won't allow us to do data preview. Fine. The next step what I'm gonna do, so this is up to you, but in my case, just for my comfortness, I'm gonna add one select transformation here. So the purpose of this select transformation is just I wanted to alias all my source columns so that there won't be any confusion for me later on when I am trying to compare the column value from both source and target. So there should not be any confusion. So just for that, I'm gonna alias all the columns those coming from source dataset. I'm gonna name them as src underscore. All right, so that there won't be any confusion. It's up to you guys. If you are comfortable like this, just continue as is. If names are same in your source file and target tables, definitely there will be confusion. So I would say just name them as source underscore and respect to column name. That's it. Alright, we are done. Before going ahead, I wanted to convert data types of our source dataset in case those are not matching with our target table. Okay, let's go to projection. Under projection, you could see that these are input columns, those are coming from our source file, and see here agent ID, it is coming as string, right? But in our case, in our table, the agent ID is in integer. So definitely there will be issue when you are joining them. So let's convert them into integer. Fine. And name is string, that's okay. We also create it as varchar. Designation string, that's okay. Contact number again, yes. So contact number we created as begint, right? So the equivalent data type in here is long. Let's convert that to long. Fine. All right, that's it. Rest all are matching, that's okay, no issues. Fine. The next step is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cross join this max key with source data. I'll let you know why I'm gonna go for cross join. So let me select join type, join transformation. Let me name it as cross join just for our understanding. Fine. And if you observe here, the left stream is source data, so that is aliased one. Then right stream is the max key that we're gonna select from this data set. All right, fine. And let's go for cross join, and here we got nothing to do, just pass true condition. Any true condition is fine. Okay, 1 equal to 1, or maybe you can say true also. All right, that's fine. Let's go for data preview here. Let's say refresh. So what I would say is, so at every step just preview the data so that the data will be available for next transformation or next activity. All right, yeah, all right. So data preview is done. So we are getting all the records from our source. All right, let's go for data preview here as well so that we can see that whether cross join happened or not. All right, whatever the max keys that we are getting from our source table, it will be cross joined with all the records coming from source, right? Currently as we don't have any data, so the max value is null as of now. That's okay, let's not worry about that. Fine. Now next thing is I'm going to join our target table with source table just to compare if there are any matches. All right, for that what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for the next join, and this time I'm going to use join type as left join. It's up to you, maybe you can still go for a full outer join also, but in this case I'm going to go for left join. All right, left join, what it does, it will pull all the records from left table, only matching records from right table, right? So before going ahead and complete our join, right, so I'm going to add data source. So this time I'm going to pull complete target table here, say dim agent. Okay, so I'm going to pull complete data from our target table, and that I'm going to join with source table, and here the join type that I'm going to use is left join. All right, so let me just go ahead and create. Okay, it's not allowing any symbol, that's okay. So we have got already data set created. Let's go ahead and use same data set, that is target DB. So here I'm going to pull complete table data, so that's fine. So we have got nothing to do, that's it. Go to join. Under join, just specify our right stream. Right stream is our dim agent data set. All right, how are you going to join source and our target table? So we're going to join based on agent ID. All right, src agent ID from left table, that is from source, and the agent ID from our target table. That's it. This is how we are gonna join both the data sets. That's it. Let's go to data preview in case if you want to see how data is coming. Alright, it's going to take a few seconds to have data previewed. Yep, so data has been previewed. We don't have any match, right? So obviously from right table every column will have nulls because we don't have any record in our target table as of now. Alright, fine, that's it. We are done with this join. The next step, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use condition split and separate matches and non-matches. So to split matches and non-matches from this data set, I'm going to use transformation called condition split. Let me go for that. So let me just reduce this size so that it will be more clear for you guys. Okay, I'm going to name it as split 1. Fine. How I'm going to split? See, if you observe here in the condition split, we'll have two streams. One is matching stream and non-match stream. Okay, so we need to pass the condition for only one, either for matching or non-matching. That's it. Whatever the records, those are not falling under the first condition, rest all will be falling under second condition. Alright, the first condition I'm gonna check if there are any matches. Alright, so how I'm gonna compare? I'm gonna compare src agent ID equal to agent ID from our target table. That's it. And the second portion automatically will fall under the second stream that I'm going to name it as, can say unmatched. Fine, that's it. We got nothing to do here. That's it. We are done till here. In case of agent ID does not match, what I want to do, I want to straight away go ahead and insert the records. Agent ID is not matching, that means those agents does not exist in the target table. If the agents already not there in the target table, what we need to do, we need to just insert them. That's it. So for that, what I'm going to use, I'm going to use destination here. It should be loaded directly into our target table. That's it, right? So let's go ahead and select our target DB data set. Under settings, nothing to do. Records has to be inserted. Let's go for default selection, and under mapping we need to do few changes here. Okay, let's take off auto mapping, and SCD key, as I said, this is created with identity, so we don't need to insert the value externally into this column. It will take its own value. Fine, so in that case we should not map that. So let me take off that. Then I took off that identity column mapping. Then second thing, so it has to get all the values from source table, so it should not be self mapping. So every column should be mapped with source table, and agent name should be mapped to SRC name, then designation should be mapped to SRC designation, contact number should be mapped to SRC contact number, and location should be matched to SRC location. Alright, is active. So as again I created default constraint on that. If we are inserting new rows, by default it will take value as 1, right? For that we don't need to insert any value. So anyways, we don't have that is active in our source table, so fine, let's take up this mapping. And from date, again I created default constraint to get current date as the from date. Alright, for all new records the current date would be the from date. So again let's take up that mapping, and to date by default it should be null, right? So in case of changes, then only our to date has to be populated. So as of now it should be null. I took off the mapping for to date also. So these are the columns in the target table. Those has to get the value from source file in case the agent does not exist in the target table. Alright, so this is the first case. If no matches with agent ID, straight away it has to insert all the records coming from source into target table. That's it. This is handled. Okay, now we got second scenario to be handled. So the second requirement, if matching with agent ID, then again we need to check if designation is matching or not. If designation also matching, then we need to update the value for type 1 attributes, but we should not update the value for type 0. Type 0 already we know name is a type 0. That's okay. Let's see how do we handle that. Alright, so now let's go back to matching part. Under matching part, so let's go ahead and add one more join here. Now again, whatever the matching portion that is coming through this transformation again has to be joined with our target table to compare if designation is matching or not. So this time what we're going to compare, we're going to compare the designation with our source, whether it's matching with our target table or not, right? So we have got already target table created, that is dim agent. Let's go ahead and use same target table. Go to join. So our right stream is again dim agent. So the join type that I'm going to use is left outer join. In case if you want to go for full outer also, of course you can, but you can't go for inner join and all, because inner join will take only matching rows, right? So we don't want to ignore any records from left table, right? So we have to definitely go for either left outer join or full outer join. All right, and here the matching condition is, this time we're going to compare with designation from our source file with designation in our target table. All right, fine. SRC designation equals to designation from our target table. All right, fine. And optimize, I'm going to just optimize, I'm going to just select broadcast as fixed, and I'm going to just place a right table in the memory. That's okay. Let me just select dim agent into memory. Fine. Then the next step is, again we need to add one more conditional split to separate matches and non-matches. All right, so this time we're going to separate matches and non-matches based on designation. All right, so let's go to our conditional split. This time I'm going to say split 2. So match, how are you going to compare? So match would be SRC designation equals to our target table designation. All right, our target table designation is coming from split 1 match, right? You have to be very careful while matching the records. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just compare source designation with the designation coming from our target table. All right, so that would be the match, and what are the data it's not matching, so that will fall under unmatched. Fine, that's it. We got nothing to do, just say unmatched. All right, fine. Let's go for data preview. Let's see if data is coming or not. All right, I think we did not do data preview at previous step, right? So let's go ahead and do data preview. So obviously, as there are no any matches, right? So we don't expect data is coming through this direction, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and complete our settings. Fine. Let's do data preview here. So obviously we can't expect records in this direction because everything would have gone here, because nothing is matching, right? So we currently don't have any record in our target table, so we don't expect any record to be matched with our source, right? So I think everything will be falling under this unmatched, but still let's go ahead and complete our settings. Done. We are just separated match and unmatched portion after joining with designation. All right, so in case the designation is matching, what I want to do, I want to update the values for type 1 attributes. All right, in our data set, what are the type 1 attributes? Contact number and location. These two are type 1 attributes, right? So in case of matches, what we need to do, we need to update values for type 1 attributes. For that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add one alter row transformation. This alter row transformation is to modify the records. All right, so under alter row transformation, what I'm going to select, I'm going to select alter row condition as update if. In case of true condition, just I wanted to update the records. Okay, so for that, just I am passing one true condition. So here nothing. In case if as per your requirement, if you have to pass any other condition, of course it's up to you, it's based on your requirement. But in our case here, I need to pass one true condition, that's it. So that's why I'm passing one true condition here. This alter row transformation, where it will be updating, it will be updating records in our target table. For that, what I'm going to add, I'm going to add sync. All right, so let me just leave the default name, that is sync to whatever it is. Fine. Under sync, then we have to complete these settings. Let me select the database, that is DS target DB, then go to settings. The update method should not be allow insert, it should be allow update. Alright, we're gonna update the records, right? Just take off this allow insert and check allow update. When you are going to update, you need to pass the key column that you're gonna use to compare, right? So that key column should be from our target table, that is agent ID. Alright, we're gonna match with agent ID. Okay, then go to mapping, take off auto mapping. Okay, now here what are the column values, those we're gonna update, those you need to map. The SCD key value, as I said, we are not gonna update, and the agent ID we are not gonna update, but we need this mainly for matching condition, right? So here our SRC agent ID should match with agent ID, then it has to update for same agent ID from our source table. It has to be matched first agent ID with our target agent ID. Then what we gonna update, we're gonna update the value for only type 1 attributes. So agent name is type 0, so we don't expect any changes in type 0 attribute. In case of changes also, what we need to do, we need to just ignore, right? So we should not map. That's it. Then designation is, in our case, it's a type 2 attribute, so we checked, it is already matching. So in case of matching, what is the need of updating again? So we can ignore it, we'll keep whatever it is there in our target table. Then contact number, so definitely it has to be updated. So of course I can put one more condition here and check if contact number is changed, then only update it. But again, I don't want to make this a pipeline very complex, so straight away, even though there are no updates, but still straight away I want to update the value from our source. That's it. Okay, so for that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just map with SRC contact. It should be mapped with SRC contact number. Then location also again type 1 attribute, that I'm gonna map with SRC location from source file. That's it. And is active and from date to date, those no need to map because we are not gonna change those values. Alright, if contact number is changed, straight away we're gonna just update. If location is changed, straight away we're gonna update. That's it. We got nothing to do here. This is done. And the next case is, in case our designation is not matched, then what to do? And final requirement is, in case agent ID is matching but designation does not match, so in that case what we want to do, we want to maintain the old record and we have to close that, and the new record has to be inserted and it has to be opened. That's what our requirement is. Fine. So for that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add the first step, go to unmatched portion here where we are comparing with our designation. Don't be confused. Here we are comparing with designation, and the comparison with agent ID is already handled. In case of matches, it will go in this direction. In case of no matches, it will go in this direction. Straight away will insert into target table. Alright, we joined again our source and target with designation, and we separated matches and unmatching records. Matching records we already handled, out go ahead and update in target table. In case of no matches with our designation, so that means is designation changed, right? So if any agent designation changed, what we need to do, we need to maintain old record as well as new record, and old record has to be closed, new record has to be kept open, right? That's what our requirement. So for that, what I'm gonna do, in case of unmatched, right, the first thing what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just straight away insert into our target table. That's it. Straight away we'll go ahead and insert into our target table. Fine. For that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just straight away add sync here, that is sync 3. Fine. And target table is again target DB. Then go to settings. It should be allow insert. Under mapping, then it has to be here. I'm gonna take off auto mapping, then take off the SCD key. Then agent ID has to be matched with what? Source agent ID, and all the field values those we are getting from source has to be matched to our target. So it will be new record, right? So if we have to match with all the fields, so SRC name should be matched to agent name, SRC designation has to be matched to agent designation, and contact should be matched to contact in our target table, and location, fine, and is active, as we already created default constraint on that, so we don't need to insert the value here. By default it will take 1 for the new record, so I can take up the mapping. And from date, again we created default constraint, we don't need. And to date, it has to be opened, right? So it should be, by default it will be inserted with null value. That's it. So we're gonna map all the columns except those additional columns. Fine, that's it, done. So in case of no matches, the first thing what we're gonna do, we're gonna insert the records into target table. But as per our requirement, what we need to do, so the new record has to be inserted, that's okay, it should be opened, fine, that we already handled. Then what about old record? Old record has to be closed, right? It has to be updated from active to inactive, then the end date has to be closed, right? Those two we need to handle. So for that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just copy this, creating new branch here. So just select this unmatched portion, just click on this plus icon, you will get new branch. All right, just say new branch, just copy of this will be added again. So one way what we need to do, if there are no matches, we have to straight away insert into target table. The old record we have to update, right? For that I just copied the same unmatched portion again by clicking on new branch. All right, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add one transformation, that's derived column transformation. I'll tell you what is the purpose of that. So in the derived column transformation, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just create two derived values, one for is active column, is active, fine. The default value that I'm gonna pass is 0, because we need to update the old record value to 0, right? For that I'm gonna say is active equal to 0. Second derived column that I'm gonna create is to date, right? To date has to be closed. For that, what I'm gonna create one expression to get current date as a to date. All right, so just select current date, fine. I'm gonna just select this current date function, say save and finish. That's it, we are done with our derived column transformation. Fine, we got nothing to do here. The next thing what we need to do, we need to update this directly on target table. For updating, again we need to go for alter row transformation. I'm gonna add one alter row transformation. Under alter row transformation, what I'm gonna do, so this time the condition should not be true condition. This time we need to compare. For example, if you look at this screen, just assume this guy Donald, initially its designation was executive. Just assume this was not closed, and in 2019 its designation got changed to senior executive, right? So in that case, what we need to do, we need to maintain this old record, and for this old record we need to update this is active from 1 to 0. It has to be updated to 0, and this for this new record it has to be 1, and forget about this record, it has to be 1, right? So we need to maintain the old record and also new record. New record should get 1, and here it should be null. All right, and old record should be closed with whatever the date his designation changed, right? So for that, what I'm gonna do here, in this step we'll be inserting new record as is, and in this step we'll be updating the value for existing record for old record, right? For that, what I'm gonna do, I created two derived columns, then after that we'll be updating the value. So based on what condition we need to update the value, we need to update the value only for records those value is less than or equal to the max key value that we are getting from our target table in the first step. So that was the purpose why I created one data set, to get max key value. Okay, max key value I'm getting from here, and I cross joined with source, right? So now when you are updating, we need to make sure that we are updating only on old records, not on new records, right? So in case if you execute directly, if you go and update, so it will update even for new record also, but we need to make sure that it is not updated on new record, it has to be updated on old record. So for that we need to pass a condition, update if, then condition should be what? Our SCD key from unmatched portion is less than or equals to max key. Okay, so we should not update for the new record that we just inserted, right? It has to be updated to the value should be updated to only old record. So for that I'm going to pass the condition SCD key from our target table, if it is less than or equal to max key, then only go ahead and update. Alright, fine, that's it. Where we need to update on target table, right? Obviously. So for that I'm going to add sync again, and this time let me select our target table, and this time under settings it should not be insert, it should be allow update. Alright, and based on what condition we're gonna update, we're gonna match with agent ID. So let me select agent ID in our target table. Fine, how we're gonna map? We're gonna match with, let me take a photo mapping, take off agent SCD key, and how we're gonna match? We're gonna match with SRC agent ID, right? So we're gonna match with SRC agent ID, and fine, the agent name, so we are not updating any value under agent name. Fine, designation we are not updating, contact number we are not updating, location also we are not updating. Is active, we're gonna update with the value that we are getting from our derived column. Alright, map is active from our derived column transformation, and from date, of course, we need to update whatever the initial from date was there, same has to be maintained, and to date should be mapped to the to date that we are getting from again derived column transformation. Alright, this is how we need to map and update the values. So just we are going to update the value for is active column. Now it will be updated to 0, and to date before it will be blank or null. Now it will be updated with current date, because today we're gonna close that old record. Alright, that's it. So we are done with all the steps. Hopefully our pipeline will be executed without any issues. Let's go ahead and debug our pipeline. Alright, fine, looks so big, but it's very simple. I think if you go step by step, it will be more clear, I hope. So this will definitely help you out. So let's go ahead and debug our pipeline. Let's go ahead and start debugging. I did not name this pipeline, so let me name it as SCD type load. Let's go ahead and start debugging. Alright, I think all steps are fine. There are no any build or syntax errors. That's okay. Now let's see. Let's wait for a few seconds. Our pipeline will be executed. Alright, it's gonna start now. So currently we don't have data in our target table, right? So we expect all the records to be inserted because no matches at all. So let's see. So another thing I forgot to tell you guys. So in case if, so just assume here in this scenario, meanwhile while our package is executing. Okay, so initially it started as executive, and from 2018 till 2019. In 2019 is designation changed to senior executive, right? And again in 2020 again he became, maybe you can say, manager. So he became manager. So he got promoted twice, right? Initially started with one designation, then 2 times he got promoted, right? So in our last condition, right, so we're gonna compare if our SCD key from our target table is less than or equal to max key, then update, right? So in that case what will happen? So the values for all these 2 previous records will be updated. For example, if you take, like, we are updating with to date with current date, so instead of closing this record already closed in 2019, right? But when you execute with that condition, what happens? So even this also will be updated with today's date. Just assume maybe you can say 2020's date, November 12th. End date for previous record also will be updated, right? So be careful in this case. To handle this scenario, what you can do, so you need to put some additional condition as well. Okay, so what it should be, SCD key is less than or equal to max key, and also you need to put one more condition, and is active equal to 1. So it's less than or equal to max key and is active equal to 1, only that record only we need to update, right? So we should not update the previous record which was already closed. So for that you have to put one additional condition. In our case we don't have such previous conditions, right? So I did not handle that, but in case, just I am telling you guys, in case if you have that such scenario, you need to handle in this place. Okay, so currently I just put condition like SCD key less than or equal to max key, but you need to put some additional condition as well in that case. Okay, alright, so our pipeline is executed successfully without any issues. Let's go ahead and check our data. Let me execute this query. Alright, we got data loaded into our target table. Fine, see here, so there is one null record also inserted. I think there is some issue in our Excel file. Let's not worry about that, let's ignore that for now. Okay, so we got all the records are inserted into our target table. Fine, see here, the from date is today's date and to date is open, because all these are active records. If you see that is active is 1. Alright, now let's do few changes in the source file and we'll see how do we handle that. Okay, so I'm gonna open this file. Alright, so because of this records I think the null value is inserted. That's okay, let's not worry about that. Fine. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna enter a new agent here. So agent ID is 1010, then so agent name is Vicky and designation is executive, contact number is fine, and the work location is Leeds. Fine. So one new agent came in, then let's do few more other changes. So what I'm gonna do for this guy currently is district manager, so I'm gonna update this to area manager. Just assume he got promoted to area manager. Okay, for this guy Johnny, just I'm gonna change his mobile number. Just assume his mobile number updated, contact number changed. Fine, I'm gonna change this to 650000. Fine, and for Helen I'm gonna change the location. Now currently the location is Staines, right? Let me change that to London. Let me take the snippet just for our validation. Okay, fine, and I'm gonna take off, yeah, let me keep this screen aside. I'm gonna take off these values. Fine, I'm gonna save this file and upload this to ADLS. Alright, let's go to ADLS. This is the file that we have, right? Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna upload the file that we just changed. Fine, let's go to cus data. Under cus data, this is the one which we just updated, right? So I'm gonna just overwrite the file if already exists, otherwise there will be error. Fine, say upload. Fine, now file is updated with new changes. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just straight away execute our pipeline. That's it. Let's debug pipeline. Let's wait for a few seconds. I hope so everything will be handled as we expected. In case of any issues, we'll look into. Alright, our pipeline executed successfully. Now let's go ahead and check the data. Let's execute our query. Alright, see here. Okay, let's take our snippet and we'll see what changes we have done, whether the changes are reflecting or not. We'll just compare. Alright, so I'm expecting one new agent to be inserted, that is agent ID 1010. Alright, so new agent came in 1010 is Vicky R. So that is done, it is passed. The second check is, alright, for robot we change the designation, right? See, for agent ID 3 we change the designation. Before he was, I think, district manager, now we change to area manager. Alright, see here, it is old record. Before he was district manager. See, old record is closed, it became inactive, and today, see here, today it became inactive. Alright, and we expect new record also for this. So we expect robot again with, alright, robot here again is designation changed to area manager. This is new record here, see here. So to date is open. Alright, the second, the type 2 scenario is exactly handled. Other one is what, change the contact number, right? So let's see whether type 1 attribute is handled or not. Alright, we change the contact number for Johnny, right? Before was 500 something. For Johnny, let's go ahead and check exactly. See here, before, if you just go for Control Z, right, so we can see all the changes. Alright, see, for this guy, before the contact number was 5600, now it became 6500. Alright, and if I do Control Z again, for Helen we change the location, right? So that is also type 1 attribute. Let's see whether it is handled or not. So Helen, before she was working at Staines, now let's see, Helen, yes, now she moved to London. Alright, type 1 attributes, what we are going to do, we are just straight away updating the values. If there are any changes, we are straight away updating the values. So our pipeline is handled all the scenarios and it is working as we expected. Alright, I hope this is clear for you guys. It's little lengthy, but still I think it will be really helpful for you guys. So just go step by step so that it will be more clear for you guys. Alright, be careful at the joins, wherever you are joining, right? How you are gonna join, what column you're gonna use for joins. So there you have to be careful. Other than that, it's very simple. Alright, thanks for watching my video. Please do subscribe for more videos from my side on Azure Data Factory and Azure Databricks, and also on Power BI. Alright, we'll meet again with a different concept. Until then, bye bye. Thank you.